There are many new exciting drilling applications in the world of Delmag, where new technology and years of experience have blended together. Delmag has been around since 1922 and has been building drilling rigs for at least 30 years. Delmag is located near Stuttgart, Germany, and has roughly 100 employees. It is currently owned by ABI, another manufacturer of specialized foundation equipment, so it can truly be said that we know foundations. In the USA, Delmag drilling rigs are supported by ABI in Benicia, California. Here, a full workshop, hose shop, spare parts store, and a crew of technicians are able to support the rigs. The rigs themselves have been involved in some tough jobs with remarkable results. Let's hear and see how it went for the clients themselves.
We're building a 345 line, which is 70 miles long. It's got 327 structures. Each structure is a four-legged tower, and we do have the Delmag 22 metric ton machine with the aggressive auger, and we're producing 3 to 4 structures a day, drilling in sandstone, limestone, and probably drilling a hole every 30 minutes in the limestone, 45 minutes in the limestone. We've had experience another type of drilling rig, the same size. It had less than half the capability of what the Delmag's doing for us. My experience with other drilling rigs in the 20 years that I've been in the drilling industry, they just don't have the crowd and the torque that the Delmag would have in this extremely hard rock conditions. The tools that we're using out here is the aggressive auger. It's come from Germany. It outperforms any other auger that I have ever seen in the 20 years of experience in the drilling industry that I've been in. The German auger that we have been using, we have not rebuilt the auger 9 months since we've been here. The teeth on the auger, we've probably changed a few of them out every couple of weeks. And this is drilling in the limestone. The teeth really hold up, the stinger holds up. We really haven't had any problems with it. We're really excited to use the machine and the augers as a component.
The Delmag rigs have a rock drill setting that prevents cavitation of the motors by limiting RPM to prevent sudden increases in speed of the motors when rock breaks off.
The service with the Delmag's been very good. We really haven't had any problems with it. Just, typical maintenance. That's about it. Just real good service. No problems, no electrical problems. It's been really a good machine for us.
The auger heads used are progressive augers, and we can see that the head has drilled small chunks out of the rock and not powder. This means it is cutting the hard material and not grinding itself to death. This explains the long life in hard drilling conditions. In the Los Angeles area, a Delmag RH130 was used to drill 50 feet full displacement piles with lost tips. These tips are left in the ground so that the cage can be placed inside the dry empty casing. A full displacement auger was used and has reverse flighting to prevent material from coming back to the surface when extracting. The Delmag drilling rig had to drill through contaminated soils, and therefore the client wanted as little spoils as possible. To turn the auger, an RH-130 with 130,000 foot-pounds of torque and 33,000 pounds of crowd was used. Without the crowd and the weight of the rig to transfer the crowd, it would not be possible to drill full displacement piles. The piles drilled were 16-inch OD, 50 foot long through sands, clays, and compact gravels at the tip. Drilling speeds were kept to a moderate pace in order to ensure that the displacement was done properly and resulted in removing less spoils when extracting. Drilling with moderated speeds resulted in a complete pile being done in 28 minutes, but could have been done in as little as 20 minutes if time was the most critical factor. The rig is very stable despite the high crowd and torque used, and it is noticeable how little vibration or movement there is in the mast and turntable. Once the required depth has been reached, the top coupling is removed and the reinforcement lowered. The rebar is installed and the coupling is reattached. Concrete is then continuously pumped while the air that the concrete displaces is allowed to escape through two valves located at the top of the casing. Once concrete starts to come out of these valves, they are shut. The extraction of the casing then begins, and a small amount of concrete is pumped to allow for the void left behind by the casing. The full displacement pile obtained twice the capacity in the same ground conditions as a 16-inch square precast driven pile that it had replaced. Further cost savings were obtained because there was a surprisingly low overbreak of just 1%. An electronic monitoring system was provided to record the flow and pressure of the concrete, the depth of the pile, and to record the torque and crowd of the rig. The torque and crowd recordings, together with the depth reading, allowed engineers to verify that the pile had penetrated far enough into the dense gravel layers at pile tip. Measuring concrete flow and pressure assured the engineers that the correct amount of concrete had been pumped into the hole. Both these two cost savings were due to the compaction of the surrounding ground by the full displacement nature of the pile. The client also obtained two more advantages over driven piles with a Delmag rig. There was no vibration, and the greatest noise levels were generated by the engine at a low 75 decibels. Even with the drill head at the highest level of the mast, with the weight of the drill string hanging off it, the rig is still very stable even when moving around the terrain. Another method used to case holes is a part displacement pile. A sacrificial tip and a casing with narrow flighting are used. Here, most of the material is displaced and a small amount comes to the surface. This method took only 8 minutes to drill a 30-inch diameter hole 40 foot deep in caving sands and required substantial pullback forces as well to extract the auger. The final job site we are going to look at shows the drilling combination of Kelly and casing. A secant wall was designed with 36-inch piles in running sands near a railway line. To ensure that no settlement will take place, the Delmag rigs had to drill in casing and then drill them out with the auger. A precast template was built to ensure correct positioning and precise overlap of the piles. The casings were installed in sections and bolted together. Once pile depth had been reached, the cage was installed in the dry hole and a tremie pipe placed over it. The concrete truck poured its load to fill enough to allow one short casing section to be pulled. This is done to ensure that no cage movement occurs when the casing is removed. In addition, it makes it easier to extract the total length of the casing in the ground with the first pull. If all the concrete is poured at once, there is the chance that the cage may travel up with the casing, due to the pressure exerted by the concrete at the bottom of the pile on the cage and casing. The friction caused by filling the casing with concrete may also prevent extraction of the casing. A second longer casing section is removed after most of the concrete is poured. Then, based on how much more concrete is needed to top off the pile, the last pour is done and the final casing section removed. This drilling process took 30 minutes per hole and another 20 minutes to complete the pile. The job sites observed show that the Delmag rigs are well designed for hard ground conditions, as well as high torque and crowd conditions. In the event that casing is required for very deep or large diameter holes, all the Delmag rigs are able to use a casing oscillator. The oscillator is attached and transported by the rig, which allows the driller to easily position the oscillator accurately. Delmag rigs come equipped with the necessary mechanical, electrical, and hydraulic connections to run a casing oscillator directly off the rig's power pack. On this job site, a Delmag RH25 was drilling up to 100 feet of 48-inch casing. The rig has the torque necessary to drill the casing down directly without the oscillator by drilling out the inside of the casing as it was turned in. Once the cage was installed and the concrete poured, the friction inside the casing increased and the casing oscillator was used to extract the casing. The drilling time at this job was 2 hours, and it took 3.5 to 4 hours to complete the entire pile. The rig shown has more than 500 horsepower, which allows for drilling and oscillating simultaneously without any slowdown of either operation. Let's look at some of the features that make the rig so productive overall and in difficult drilling conditions. Here is Mike Smith once again from Auger Services.
Certain situations where we had to boom the machine down backwards to get underneath distribution lines, it was very convenient for us to get underneath the line and boom it right back up and to continue on drilling, to where other German machines, where the boom folds forward, you would have to actually take the Kelly bar out and take the turntable off and boom the mask forward, and we would lose production.
The rig is easy to mobilize and demobilize. It is able to self-erect, load and unload the Kelly bar and drill head, and install components without the support of a crane. To assist in transport, the rig has a hydraulic cylinder that lowers the transport height of the mast crown and has removable counterweights to lower the weight of the rig if necessary. The rig also has an incredible reach capacity of 14.5 feet. It has a hydraulic foot to support the mast when extracting heavy loads, such as a 50-foot long continuous flight auger loaded with material. The Caterpillar carrier makes it easy for clients to get spare parts all over the country. The units come with telescopic undercarriages and wide tracks to offer maximum stability and a wide footprint when drilling and tracking. The Caterpillar's beefed up undercarriage and mast support structures also allow it to drill large batter angles that are sometimes very useful on uneven ground or hard to reach areas. There are 3 winches: the auxiliary winch, the Kelly winch, and the winch that controls crowd and pullback of the rotary head. All 3 winches are mounted on the mast and therefore are always parallel to the pulley wheels. This reduces wear on the ropes and is a better transfer of pulling forces than if the winches are mounted on the rigs themselves. All the wire ropes are mounted outside the mast for easy access and inspection. All wire ropes are left on the rig during transport. The auxiliary winch can come with up to 22,000 pounds line pull for lifting reinforcement cages into the hull. The Kelly winch has an anti-slacking device that prevents the wire rope from loosening when the Kelly bar hits the bottom of the pile. This increases the life of the Kelly wire rope substantially. The winch for the drill head feed offers further advantages. It allows the drill head to travel to the top of the mast, so it can be used to maximum stroke for continuous flight augers or to drill with down the hole hammer in one pass. The winch also travels much faster than a cylinder, so moving the drill head saves time. The ability to have such a large stroke makes it possible to use up to 30-foot long casings and turn them into the ground far enough to then get over the casing with a Kelly auger. All Delmag rigs come with a potentiometer to control crowd with pressure. This means that a constant pressure can be maintained when drilling that best suits the ground conditions rather than bumping the crowd lever now and then. The Delmag drill heads are unique and simple in their design. The gearbox is sealed with grease for life and has no gear oil, so they are almost maintenance-free. Delmag rigs come as small as the RH9 with 66,000 foot-pounds of torque mounted on a Cat 320 and can be transported with the Kelly bar and rotary head still mounted on the rig. The largest model in operation is the RH30, with an even larger RH40 being built early 2003. The RH30 has 220,000 foot-pounds of torque, and the RH40 will have 295,000 foot-pounds of torque, all still with a rear fold-down mast for easy setup within hours rather than days. All the Delmag rigs can come with many different options to be tailored to your needs. Delmag can provide the right drilling rigs and tooling for your next drilling job. Please contact us for more information.